I want to explain 5 songwriting tips that are easy, simple, and you can get off the ground running right away. You don't have to be a songwriter. If you're just a new songwriter and you're just beginning, these tips are for you. They're my top 5 songwriting tips. If you're an advanced songwriter, probably don't want to watch this video, so just move on, I guess. I'm a singer-songwriter myself. I've written a lot of songs. For the past few months, I've been writing songs every single day to improve the craft of songwriting and also to prepare for my next album coming out in 2020. So you can check out all of my music below. If this is your first video that you're watching of me, please punch the subscribe button. I do weekly videos every week. Let's get into these 5 songwriting tips though. Tip 1 would be make the setup easy to get started to write a song. So what do I mean by that? Basically, like, if you're interested in writing a song, now you probably have a piano, maybe you have a guitar. Make those things easy and accessible to get started to write a song. If the piano is dusty and tucked in the corner and there's nothing really nice on it, you know, it just makes it that much harder to get over there, open it up, dust it off, clean it off, and start writing a song. Same thing, if the guitar is in the corner and dusty and the strings are old and they're not tuned, well, why would you want to write a song on that dusty old instrument? My first tip would be make it accessible and easy to start writing a song. If there's any type of barriers before actually getting into the meat of songwriting, you're not gonna do it. So I always have my guitar here, my keyboard here, and it's ready to go if I have an idea to start writing, or if I just sit down in the morning and I wanna write a song, it's right here. I have no thought, no barrier, no roadblocks in the way. Pick it up and start writing a song. Songwriting tip number 2 would be actually part of the songwriting now. Okay, you've made your instrument accessible, you're sitting down at a chair, you have your guitar, you're sitting at the piano, now what? What do I do? What do I write about? Well, before even thinking about a melody, think about a topic. What do you want to write about? Heartbreak, love, a girl, a boy, someone you saw at the train station. You want to talk about the breakfast you had. You want to talk about the thing you're excited about next week. You want to talk about the nostalgic childhood of sitting beside your parents and looking through old photos. You want to talk about your grandmother, your grandfather. You see, there's tons of things to sing about. Just pick one thing. Tip number 2, pick one thing. That's all you have to do. Don't worry if it's like you pick something and then you're like, like that's not good, I should have picked that. Don't worry, just stick with that. And then the next day, write another song about something else. There's always many, many songs you can write. Just pick something and say to yourself, I'm going to stick with this one thing. So that's songwriting tip number 2. Think of a topic that you can write about, that you can describe, that you can pretend like you're writing a letter to someone. Okay, so you've picked a topic. I'm gonna pick the topic because I'm gonna be writing and like doing a bit of an example for you as I'm explaining this video and these 5 songwriting tips as well. My topic is gonna be nostalgia. It's a great topic to have a song. Well, so many songs have been written on nostalgia, but that's okay. It's such a broad topic of past things, you know. Okay, so now you got your topic. Take a piece of paper, take the notes on your MacBook or whatever you're using, and just start writing some words, not sentences, not poetry. Just start writing some words about the topic. Think of nouns, objects, adjectives, verbs, adverbs. Just think of any words based around that topic that you can use and start writing down the words in a list. Don't be worried about how descriptive they are or how amazing, like Shakespeare, like it's amazing word. Like just think of words, and if you're stuck at all, go to thesaurus.com, put it in the word, and then you'll get tons of ideas. Tip number 3 is you need a chord progression. You need music to play to, and songwriting tip number 3 is really easy because I'm going to give it to you. And it's not stealing, there's no copyright. This is a standard chord progression that thousands and thousands of songs are played in. You can just take it and make a new song for it. Where plagiarism and copyright happens with songs is the melody and lyrics. You can't take a melody from a song and plagiarize it and use that melody in your song. You can't take the lyrics of another song and use that in your song. You can take other chord progressions. You can take other people's actual chords because you can't copyright a chord. There's an A minor, a G, a C, and a D. If I played a song in those chords and no one else could play a song in those chords, there would only be like 7 songs. So that would kind of be a bit of a boring musical landscape. This is the chord structure you're gonna use for your first song. We're just gonna do C, G, D, and A minor. So if you don't know those chords, that's okay. We're gonna have to kind of step back and learn those chords first. So maybe stop the video and play another video on how to learn the chords C, G, D, and A minor on the guitar or the piano. If you know those chords, great. Let's jump into it. Play these chords. Just kind of play them in a loop. Play them into a loop, get comfortable with that progression. What are you thinking in your head? Think about your topic, okay? And then start just putting some pieces together, putting some sentences together in your head around this chord progression. Okay, so I'm gonna stick with my topic, which is nostalgia and like missing old times, you know, whether that's high school, elementary school, old girlfriends, old boyfriends. Stick with my topic of nostalgia, play with this progression for a little bit and put some words together kind of around a melody. I'm not too worried about the words yet, but just the melody of the song. Okay, so here we go. I miss those old times. We used to play in the park, backing round those old neighborhood lots. But I saw them, miss those old times. Kind of get the idea. I'm just kind of circling, I miss those old times. That idea in my head, so I might stick with that. Then, all right, let's get into the notebook. You can write with a pen and paper. I like to write directly on my laptop and make sure I turn off all the notifications so I'm kind of focused on the writing. All right, we're gonna take our list of adjectives, verbs, nouns, and whatever. We're gonna take that whole list and get into piecing together some sentences. The biggest thing here is don't worry how good it sounds. So many songs at the beginning sound bad and take a lot of time to develop. And expect that your song will sound bad at the beginning. Just expect that. And if you had that as your standard, then you're gonna be fine. Okay, so you started writing your melody. I've given you the chord progression. You have your list of adjectives. Songwriting tip number 4 would be now to actually start writing. It's nice to sometimes have the chord progression in a loop just so you can hear it over and over again. And you can do this by looping it on like an audio software like GarageBand or Logic, or something simple, just like recording it on a voice memo and just pressing stop and play when you want to hear it. So songwriting tip number 4 would be sit with that chord progression and those melodies that you've been humming over and start writing. Pretend like you're writing a note to a friend. Do a chronological story. My topic is nostalgia, so I'm gonna start at the beginning, growing up. Nostalgia of playing in the park, nostalgia of like the smells of your neighborhood. You're gonna wanna start with one verse, which is about 4 lines. Write 4 lines about when you were younger. In my case, nostalgia, whatever your topic is. Do it in a chronological order. That's a great tip to just get started. When you hit a roadblock, you're gonna hit a roadblock, you're gonna be like, okay, I don't know what rhymes with this. I don't know how to get over this roadblock. I don't know what words to say. I suck. You know, there's gonna be tons of roadblocks. Okay, when you hit a roadblock, try to get over it. So you don't know what word rhymes with this. Well, spend a bit of time thinking about what can rhyme with that. This word doesn't sound good. Well, what other word would sound better? Spend a bit of time getting over the roadblock. If you can't get over the roadblock, move on. There's no point in banging your head against something forever because that's just really discouraging. And eventually you'll get better over time and you'll hit less roadblocks. So the important thing is to try to get over the roadblock, like spend a bit of time trying to get over it. But if you can't, don't worry about it and move on to the next verse, the next chorus, whatever, the next idea, and just keep it going and then come back to it later. If you still hit the roadblock, do it again. Move on, come back, move on, come back. If you never get it, or you never solve it, it's okay. There's always many more songs to be written. Tip number 5 would be, how do I structure these sentences that I've been writing? Well, very simply, actually. There's a verse, a bit of a pre-chorus, I would like to call it, and a chorus. Just start with that. Don't worry about a second verse. Don't worry about a bridge. Don't worry about anything else. Just start with a verse that you got your verse. Then work on a pre-chorus, and then work on a chorus. Each of those boxes are about 4 lines. So write 12 sentences. Can you write 12 sentences? I think you can. eventually these sentences are going to need to flow together. They're going to need to rhyme. They're going to need to sound great in a cadence with your melody. But at the beginning, just write 12 sentences around your topic in a chronological order that kind of fits within the melody that you've been humming over the chord progression that I've given you. Do that and only worry about the verse, pre-chorus, and chorus. Don't really worry about finishing the whole song. At the time you're done the chorus and you have your sentences together, go back and do some editing. Editing is a lot easier than starting from scratch. Like staring at a blank page and being like, what do I write about? It's really hard. So just like start something, build something, and then you can edit it. Editing is a lot easier and your brain kind of works in a better fashion to edit things than just start from scratch. So once you have your 12 sentences in verse, pre-chorus, and chorus, you can go back, edit things, maybe start rhyming things, shorten words, like elongate words to make them sound better with your melody. But that's tip number 5 would be, don't worry about finishing the whole song. Get things on the page, get your sentences on the page, and then go back and edit later. Just an extra tip, if you made it this far in the video, would be to keep an archive of your recordings of these songs that you've been writing. Even if they're really bad, like you finish a song and it's really bad, record it in a voice memo or on your computer or whatever, and then save it as a file and put it in a folder and archive it. And you'll build a library over time of these songs. I like doing it because I like looking back on the songs, but mostly it kind of gives me like a reward of like, okay, I finished the song, it's put away, and I did it. I wrote a song. And over time, you'll be able to see how many songs you've collected over time. You can look how much you've improved, but also you get the feeling of fulfillment and accomplishment for writing those songs. So that's a bit of an extra tip for you guys. I hope these 5 songwriting tips help though for any beginner songwriters are out there, or even if you're an advanced songwriter, maybe this will give you a bit of a different style to some of your approaches to songwriting. I hope that's out. Please do check out some of my own music. I'm really curious of what you think of my own music now that you kind of have a bit of an idea of how a song is written. Please punch the subscribe button if you're new here, and I hope to see you in my next videos.